Welcome to the Explainer. So today, we're looking at something that is literally fundamentally shifting how we interact with our computers. If you're still thinking of OpenAI's Codex as just, a handy autocomplete tool sitting inside your code editor, well, we are discovering a completely different reality today. We're going to trace the evolution of Codex from a simple code generator into a fully autonomous background teammate that operates across your entire workflow. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's just dive right into this question. What if your AI assistant could literally clip, type, and navigate applications entirely in the background while you focus on something else? I want to instantly shatter the misconception that Codex is just about predicting your next line of text. As we're seeing in the latest updates, Codex actually has its own cursor now and the ability to operate completely independently on your machine.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're looking at beyond basic code generation, the 5 core use cases, standardizing work with skills, the background agent revolution, and finally, automating your documentation.
Starting off with Section 1, Beyond Basic Code Generation, moving past the IDE. So, the absolutely crucial point here is that Codex is no longer just a plugin. It's a multi-surface workflow engine. It spans across a command line interface, your standard IDE extensions, and a dedicated desktop app available for both macOS and Windows. It's an integrated ecosystem, right? Designed to work wherever you work. Whether you're running terminal commands, writing Python in your editor, or just managing files on your desktop, Codex is right there with you, maintaining context across all these environments.
Moving on to Section 2, the 5 core use cases, mapping the landscape of capabilities. According to the official documentation, Codex's capabilities are basically grouped into these 5 core collections: production systems, productivity and collaboration, web development, native development, and game development. Now, what really jumps out to me here is productivity and collaboration. Codex has expanded way beyond standard software engineering into just general knowledge work. It isn't just writing scripts, it's actively coordinating work across apps, data, and entire teams.
Let's look at some concrete examples to see what that actually looks like in practice. In production systems, Codex can automatically review GitHub pull requests to catch code regressions well before a human ever has to even look at them. In native development, you can literally ask it to refactor a massive Swift UI screen or build out iOS app intents so your app works natively with Siri. And in productivity, you can hand it a messy CSV dataset and just ask it to forecast your cash flow. It's doing some really heavy analytical lifting across entirely different professional domains. It's wild.
Which brings us to Section 3, standardizing work with skills, solving developer prompt fatigue.
Because, with all this power comes a totally new problem: developer prompt fatigue. We all know the pain of writing a massive 5-paragraph prompt every single time we need an AI to do a complex, multi-step task. It's exhausting. To solve this, OpenAI introduced Skills. A skill is essentially a packaged skill.md file. It contains scoped instructions, context, and supporting logic that Codex applies consistently. You build it once, give it clear inputs and trigger phrases, and it works exactly the same way whether you trigger it in the CLI, your IDE, or the desktop app. Basically, you're teaching Codex how to do a specific job, once and for all.
The contrast here is pretty stark. With the old way, you're manually typing out constraints, attaching files, and pretty much pleading with the AI to remember your project's specific quirks every single session. But with the Codex way, you just trigger a predefined skill. You say a simple phrase, and Codex instantly executes a highly reliable, repeatable workflow, all because the constraints are already packaged perfectly under the hood. Game changer, right?
And to make sure Codex doesn't make silly mistakes about your specific project, we have agents.md. Think of this as an open format README specifically written for AI agents. It automatically loads into Codex context, telling it exactly how your repository is laid out, what the build and test commands are, and what your team's engineering conventions actually look like. When you combine agents.md with skills, Codex literally never forgets how your team builds and ships software.
All right, Section 4, the background agent revolution, a massive paradigm shift. According to a major update detailed in Ars Technica, Codex is now capable of background computer use. It uses its own cursor to see, click, and type on your machine. This means it can navigate legacy applications that don't even expose an API. If you're on a Mac, you can run multiple agents in parallel in the background without them ever interfering with your active windows. You can even schedule tasks. Tell Codex to run a massive data sweep or system test 3 days from now, and it will just wake itself up and do it. No way, right?
I absolutely love this quote from Codex lead Thibaut Sodiax. To quote him directly,
We're actually doing the sneaky thing, where we're building the super app out in the open and evolving it out of Codex. This completely reveals OpenAI's overarching strategy. Codex isn't just a coding tool anymore. It's the foundation of a universal, agentic super app designed to handle all of your digital workflows.
To support this super app vision, the recent update included 90 new plugins, vastly expanding what Codex connects to. But even cooler, the new in-app browser. Powered by GPT Image 1.5, Codex can now visually check front-end web changes. It can literally look at the website it just built, see if the buttons are aligned correctly, and generate visual mockups without ever forcing you to leave your workflow.
Finally, Section 5, automating your documentation, the workflow in action.
Let's look at some concrete proof of these concepts in action by tackling a chore pretty much every single engineer dreads: keeping the docs updated. Using the exact tools we just discussed, Codex automates this in a clean 3-step workflow. First, it independently compares your recent source code changes, your public release notes, and the context from your GitHub pull requests. Second, it drafts highly focused, user-facing documentation updates, totally avoiding those broad, destructive rewrites of your existing pages. Third, it runs your local formatting and verification checks to ensure the docs are perfectly clean before anything is published.
And safety is built right into this workflow. By reading specific inputs and understanding constraints, Codex safely updates developer docs, readmes, and runbooks while explicitly making sure it does not leak unpublished product roadmaps, private customer details, or messy internal engineering notes into your public-facing documentation. It actually understands context, not just code. Which leaves us with this final thought to take away from today's explainer. As agents like Codex move to the background to autonomously handle code, documentation, and data analysis, what human skills will you prioritize next? I mean, if the execution is being handled by an autonomous teammate, your job becomes vision, strategy, and orchestration. It's a fascinating shift to think about. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I'll see you in the next explainer.